Give even when it feels counterintuitive. Giving breaks the illusion of lack. It reminds my spirit, I am a channel, not a container. Generosity of time, kindness, money, encouragement creates flow, and flow invites abundance. Preparing for 2026 with an abundant spirit. In 2026 and beyond, I'm no longer asking, how do I survive? I'm asking, how do I expand responsibly? How do I steward blessings wisely? How do I remain grounded while growing? Abundance requires maturity. It requires trust. It requires discipline. It requires faith that isn't shaken by fluctuations. And I'm learning that God prepares us internally before blessing us externally.